You're listening to the Fortnight Podcast, where today I speak to Hugo Campbell, co-founder of Feastit, the UK's leading events booking platform. Where today we speak about running an events company in COVID, celebrity chefs, and some pretty incredible initiatives. Let's get to it, shall we? Well, welcome to the Fortnight Podcast. How are you doing, Hugo?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Really happy to be here today.
Yeah, it's really good to have you on. I think you got like a really interesting background, a really interesting company, which we get onto. So yeah, for kind of our listeners and watchers who haven't heard about Feast It, please can you describe the story behind it and kind of what you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we set up Feast It about 4 years ago now as a platform where people could come and book street food caterers for their events. So that was we launched with around 100 kind of food trucks, gazebo setups, the best in the country for those, and that was our first year. So we did events for the likes of Samsung, Amazon, all booked through our platform. And since then, we've built Feasted out. So we were described by the FT as the Airbnb of the party world. So now there are far more verticals, we call them, so other event services that you can book through Feasted. So now it's not just food catering, it's marquees, photographers, event staff, and much more. So now we're a full booking platform for events.
Brilliant. Yeah, I had a look through your website and kind of signed up. And yeah, I mean, from experience, I think creating and booking events is really difficult. And I think I like the way how you've converted it almost like, how you book a holiday and you have like a full package. It just seems really, really easy. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting that hasn't really been done before.
Yeah, that's one of the major reasons why we started the company in the first place, and part of it came off the back of my co-founder and I being tasked with organising the catering at my mum's 50th. And she lives in a village not too far outside of Oxford, but slightly rural. And it was very hard to find suppliers who were able to get there on the right date. Then you're trying to work out how you should go about paying them, how you should go about kind of managing them in the build up to the event. And it can be quite complicated and not to mention stressful. And that's a birthday party. When you're talking about something like a corporate event or a wedding, it goes to a whole new level of kind of pressure on the situation. So we launched Feast It to make that whole process safe, secure, and ultimately take out the stress when it comes to planning it.
Yeah. And so for like suppliers and services who are signing up, do you have like a QA process to ensure that it's like good quality people?
100%. So we're very much a managed marketplace. So we curate all the suppliers who come on board to Feast It. On the kind of boring side of things, or not boring to us, of course, you've got all of your hygiene documents, making sure all of their insurance documentation is up to date. So we know that as a business, fundamentally, they're of a high quality and they're going to be safe when it comes to your event. But then there are the slightly less quantifiable factors as well. So we take things like their brand quite seriously, their quality of imagery too, and also their sort of their ability to interact with customers. Very importantly too. So we'll look back at their reviews before they come on board, but also judge them as they're working on Feast, because we understand that people booking events for the first time, well, it can be a bit confusing. So we like to have suppliers who also help people along the way. So yeah, I think the simple way of putting that is we like working with people who are really efficient, very good at what they do, but also really nice to customers as well, because that's a big part of planning an event.
Yeah. And is the communication done through your website or is it done through the suppliers themselves?
So it all happens through Feast It. That's one of the perks of using it. So if you are booking an event separately or going independently to all your suppliers, you'll probably be operating over the phone with a few, over email with a few more, maybe texting, having a few meetings here and there. Can all get a bit confusing. One of the major benefits of Feast It is we put it all in one place, so you can manage your entire event through there. So you can message your supplier, you can have calls with them too, and basically it puts it all in one place. And another benefit that we have in this in Feasted as well is that you can also roll up all of your payments for your suppliers into monthly chunks. So if it comes to organizing your event and you went to all your suppliers independently, you would most likely be paying them all in different ways, with different timings. And again, it's another factor that can get a bit confusing. Yeah, we just put that into monthly chunks in the build up to the event.
Yeah, I think from experience, running events, it's the payment sometimes, and there's so many different channels when you have different suppliers and you got photographers and everything. Yeah, so yeah, it does sound like you guys are definitely smashing the market. So I think moving on, I think with most people I spoke to is when COVID hits, obviously the event industry is probably hit one of the hardest. How did kind of you initially react, and with the direction you've gone, was this always the plan, or have you just had to kind of navigate?
Yeah, so I think, well, the one thing to say is that yes, we were hit. It hit very hard from day one, and the events industry in general was, first hit and will be the last out of it, to be perfectly honest, because live events were banned from day dot of the pandemic, and also while you had weddings coming back in a limited capacity, that's not really making up for anything, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, we went from around just that. We went from targeting from the first month. We went from nearly £1 million in sales down to just under 10,000. So showing you the extent of that hit. And
Yeah.
Thankfully, since then we've done a number of measures that have helped sales in the meantime. But yes, the industry has been hit incredibly hard, and it was a really, really tough time for us. But something that we hope will ultimately be a good thing for the events industry. There are going to be plenty of opportunities on the other side of this. There are going to be lots of people who are hungry to get out there and start throwing events again. Lots of people who are desperate to get married over the next year. And it's going to be a good time, hopefully, provided that nothing gets in the way of our June 21st first date. That's sort of the provisional one for the return now.
Yeah, fingers crossed it stays at date and it's not delayed. Yeah, I mean, my previous guest last week was Alex from a creative events agency called Plain Jane Events, and she was saying how obviously when it was hit for them, yeah, all kind of in-person events had to stop. But one opportunity that's come out of it as well is this just fast tracking all these technologies, all these opportunities. And obviously when eventually we do come out of it, there's probably going to be a hybrid of all these events. And I mean, we'll probably move on to how what kind of your offering is now. And obviously your virtual events has kind of taken off massively. Like, do you want to explain with your virtual events what you're offering and kind of what are the popular events really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I think people were very skeptical about probably throughout the first lockdown. And I think for lots of good reasons, which were that people were doing Zoom quizzes and getting bored of them. People were just trying to do socials. And to be honest, virtual events don't really work unless there's an interactive activity that's going on. And so what we tried to do was bring together some really, really exciting options, sort of firstly focusing on food and drink, which is sort of where Feast It started. So we partnered with a load of our suppliers who could offer brilliant virtual options. So if you picture a pizza making masterclass with Pizza Pilgrim, so one of their chefs turning up and teaching your whole team or you and all your friends together how to make perfect pizza, and you've all got one of their pizza kits, and that was a really, really popular one. Cocktail making masterclasses were a very, very popular one. I know that we did one for our Christmas party ourselves, so sampling that, it was a really, really great event. We used a company called or one of our suppliers called Beetlejuice, who sent everyone a cocktail kit. We got 3 or 4 cocktails over the course of an hour, which, to be honest, for me at least, is probably a bit much. But it was a really, really great event, and you come out of it learning a lot, and it's great fun. And since then as well, we've added really popular events like virtual escape rooms. I know there's one called escape from Alcatraz, which has been very popular recently, which, as it sounds, is sort of again, you get cocktails sent to you, but you have a sort of virtual event with your team of trying to get out of this virtual Alcatraz, which is really fun. And yeah, it's been refreshing to see how many people have been going for that. And there was a massive spike in Christmas parties, of course, and we did Christmas parties for the likes of Google, Facebook, Amazon, Levi's, which was great, and then loads of sort of private family events as well, and those have continued to be really, really popular. So yeah, it's been great to see that taking off, and also really great to be able to kind of be helping out our suppliers at this time as well. And we were working quite closely with some of them, trying to help them develop virtual event options too, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I think obviously when lockdown first happened, everyone was doing quizzes, everyone's on Zoom, and I think there was this massive burnout. And what you're offering is just something a lot different. It's really engaging. I remember speaking to my friends before, like we were like, we want to do something different in the quiz. What is there to do? And it just never really kicks off. And I think this is a really easy way to do that. I think touching on kind of your virtual experiences with cooking, I know you've got some celebrity chefs signed up and partnered with you guys. Do you want to touch on this and kind of how this has impacted your business, and just kind of name drop some guys?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the thing I'd say up front is that it's not necessarily the cheapest thing in the world to book them. So if you've got a bit of cash to splash on a corporate event or a birthday, it's a brilliant option. But yeah, we partnered with the likes of Jose Pizarro, Tom Kerridge, and also Alex Head, who founded the Social Pantry. So some really kind of interesting chefs who can come along and do culinary masterclasses, teaching everything they know. So, for instance, Tom Kerridge has a 60-minute kind of culinary skills masterclass that he teaches through the platform, and that's quite a popular corporate option. And we have partnered with them kind of exclusively to have them on the platform, which has been really, really exciting. And of course, for us, it's brilliant to partner with names like this. And I think a bit of a dream come true for some of us. I know my co-founder, it's a great story for him, because he actually, part of the reason that he was so into the hospitality and events industry there's a nice story about him saving up to take his mum to the Hand and Flower, which is Tom Kerridge's restaurant, when he was at uni. So he felt like that was a real symbolic moment for Feast It to be working with such big name chefs, which is really, really nice moment for us, and we were so happy to be working with them.
Yeah, and do you have more plans to kind of incorporate kind of other celebrities in other areas?
To be honest, we'd love to. If you know any, let us know. We'd love to go into that a bit more, and fundamentally we have a booking platform for people to book great suppliers for events. And if those are speakers, if those are virtual events, those kind of things, anything falls into that. So it's definitely something we're looking into, and we'd love to go further, probably without fully wanting to turn into a talent agency. But yes, we'd love to.
Yeah, and what you said before as well, where you're kind of helping suppliers and businesses who obviously probably are hit quite hard. This goes into your, I think it's quite a new feature, your meal kits. I think is it Feast It Deli? And when I was looking into it, I think you put in, is it a non-profit, and the money is going back into the suppliers?
Exactly right. So we've partnered with, we had already partnered with a lot of our suppliers, and we've launched Feast It Deli, which is a meal kits booking platform. So some of the best meal kits in the country. So again, I think I mentioned them earlier, but Pizza Pilgrims are on there. Lima London, who are a great Peruvian restaurant. Caper and Berries, another example, kind of the UK's largest kind of gourmet catering company, have all got lovely meal kits on there. And you kind of, you're ranging from really interesting kind of margarita pizzas, that cost about, you know, 15 to 20 pounds, up to your sort of £100 plus meal kits, which are, you know, you're talking sort of steak and lobster. So there's something in there for everyone. So we have launched this platform and sort of built it bespoke, and we take a 10% commission on all bookings that go through. So comparatively, that's around a third or less of what your kind of Deliveroos or most companies like that would take for bookings like that. And all of that 10% is going straight back into marketing, Feast It Deli. So we are trying to genuinely make it, it's an attempt to really help out our suppliers, help out hospitality industry, and make sure there's the suppliers are going to be there to help us have fun on the other side of this, because yeah, we're really going to need them.
Yeah, it's a really good initiative. And is there a skill level involved in these different kits? So for instance, I quite enjoy cooking. My partner, she does not. So are they all, is it for all beginners, or is it kind of, you can pick and choose?
It's all levels. I would say that anyone can order any kit on there and you'll be fine. You'll learn some really great things. So some of them are easier than others. You have some which are, you know, literally cooked by the restaurants and will be kind of boil in the bag kits. Some of them, again, I go back to them, the Pizza Pilgrims example, which is you find yourself, you're having to kind of mold the dough and knead the dough. It's actually quite difficult, and it's really, really fun, and you actually learn a lot doing it. So yeah, some of them are highly interactive. I know there's a kit on there which is a DIY dosa kit. So Indian dosas, it's got you kind of learning all about how to make them, put them together. So yeah, some are interactive, really educational. Others are a bit easier, but yeah, underlying it, anyone can do all of them, and you will definitely learn a lot from each one.
Brilliant. No, sounds really good. And yeah, moving on to another really good initiative that you kind of mentioned to me is about your carbon offsetting calculator. I think it's the first in the events industry, is it?
It is, and you say, yeah. I think talking about all these initiatives, you know, it's one of those things where you realize what an events company who doesn't have any events to work on for a year gets up to. And you know, there's been sort of lots of initiatives from us going forward like this. And yeah, our carbon offsetting calculator is an incredibly exciting development for us. It's a real brainchild of my co-founder, particularly who's been pushing this for a while. And yes, it's a calculator that will ask you some important questions about your event. So how many people attended, how long was your event, where did the guests travel from, etc., and will give you an estimation of the number of tons of carbon that it would produce. On average, the average event creates about 15 tons, which is quite a lot. It's equivalent to 6 flights to Australia and back, so it's quite a lot. And it will immediately give you an amount of money that it would cost to offset that. So you can do that by donating to projects like protecting the deforestation of the Amazon. There's a reforestation project in Madagascar. There's solar energy projects going on in India, and this is and you can donate to them directly through it. So we give you a kind of breakdown of exactly what it takes to offset your event, and give you the tools to make it super easy. On average, the price is about the same as a wedding cake, so it's cheaper than most people think it will be as well, which is quite important. And what we're also hoping is that people will see it as a very good, we think it's a great gift to give people who are getting married as well. So enabling them to kind of go ahead with their party knowing that it's, you know, completely guilt-free, environmentally speaking. And we think it's going to be hopefully going to really take off as a gift for weddings. And it's important to add as well that you're able to retrospectively offset an event. So if you have had something a couple of years ago and you might feel, you know, maybe it did create a bit of you are able to go back and offset that too. And yeah, it's a really exciting project for us. And we've actually partnered with a great company called Ecology, ending in an I, to help make sure that the donations go to the best projects. They're a wonderful company.
Oh, really good. Yeah, and I mean, you started that by saying obviously you've got a lot of initiatives, but some companies might have spent the time differently. They might have been really selfish, and yeah, it's just really nice to hear. And yeah, I mean, with the kind of the carbon offset, and obviously a lot of things have happened recently. With you got Australia's wildfires, you got everything happening in LA, even kind of the kind of in Texas at the moment. I know I've got a friend there whose living conditions aren't the best. So yeah, it's really good to hear this. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And yeah, fundamentally, the world is facing an ecological crisis. And while, of course, we're not pretending to have an answer to anything, we do think that people should be, helping where they can. And we'd love to facilitate that within the events industry. We do think it's, we want the industry to be part of that.
yeah, no, sounds good. Yeah, so moving forward and looking forward, how do you see the events industry going post, hopefully 21st of June? Do you guys have any new plans that you can share?
In a word, stratospheric. I would imagine there will be a desire to reconnect through events like there never has been before. Also, that's without mentioning the fact that 70% of weddings last year were postponed and didn't go ahead. The rest of those 30%, many of those are planning to throw a big party anyway. People are looking to book parties for them and their friends like never before. There's going to be a big desire to celebrate when things, fingers crossed, come back on June the 21st. We see there being a bit of a reset for the industry and people kind of booking in droves. And I think, of course, the pandemic has been has been good for some people, bad for others, but there are a lot of people sitting on disposable income at the moment who will want to go out and, if they're having a milestone birthday, they'll want to celebrate properly too. So in the short term, there's going to be a lot of events going on for the next 2 years. And that will also go to festivals. Major events are going to be very, very well attended. Everyone's going to want to be getting out as much as possible. So we're going to see a big comeback. And to be honest, we will see some changes at events in the short term. People are going to be conscious of I think outdoor events will be more popular towards the start, because people will recognize that that's probably a safer space to throw events in. And I think there are going to be some interesting trends that happen to the industry as well. I think something to definitely pick up on is that a lot of the suppliers have suffered over the last year without any revenues as well. So we might see a few changes to that supply base and lots of new suppliers kind of coming in as well, which will be very interesting. I think essentially we're waiting on a bit of a boom and starting to see that happen in the data at the moment, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I know I can't book any holidays in the summer of 2022 because I think I've got 5 or 6 weddings that have been rearranged and moved. But yeah, I think a lot of industries, it is still quite uncertain, but I do agree that there is going to be this sense that people want to just kind of get out. There is this kind of bubble of income that people just haven't been spending, they've been sitting on. Hopefully the summer is a nice hot summer and we can kind of enjoy outdoor events. But yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah, fingers crossed it's going to be the best summer ever.
Yeah.
We're certainly hoping for that to be so. And I think, I think people are going to really appreciate being able to go outside and just, spend the night partying with their friends in a way that they, of course, everyone loves that, but it's going to be appreciated in a whole new way now. And that's really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And well, thank you for speaking to me today, Hugo. It's been really insightful. It's been really good hearing your story, hearing how Feast It has grown. And I just hopefully your trajectory continues.
Well, yeah, it's been an interesting year for us, and yeah, we're hoping that it's going to be a really good 2021 and then 2022, and hopefully we can help people start throwing parties more.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone wants, really.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah, thank you very much. If anyone who's listening who wants to kind of check you guys out, where do they need to go?
It's feastit.com, feast-it.com, and you can book pretty much absolutely anything you need for your event there. And it's all been quality controlled by us, so it should all be brilliant.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Hope you liked today's podcast. If you did, like it, subscribe for more, and check out what we do at Fortnight.studio.